So here we have Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. Yes, it cost me $5. I know some people would think that's way too much, but I didn't have this one. I actually picked this up at my local Big Lots, which is, well, not really Big Lots. It wasn't Big Lots. I did pick up some other things at Big Lots a while back. I picked it up at Winco of all places, which is a grocery store here in the Pacific Northwest. I think it's also in other parts of the United States, but I think it's specifically kind of a Pacific Northwest kind of thing. So they've been selling Blu-rays recently. I think they've been getting a lot of back stock from the same place that Big Lots has been getting them, or from some other retailer or whatever. And it seems like every time I go shopping there, they have new stock in. And it's a pretty good deal for brand new Blu-rays. And decided to pick up Sin City: A Dame to Kill For because I had the first film and I didn't have the sequel. The rest of the titles here are from Kino Lorber, and another one's from Code Red, and then the other one is another title that I picked up from Winco. So picked up Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid from the Kino Lorber sale that happened, I think, a month ago. Been really curious about this one. This is a really unique film. It's a comedy, parody, satire of these kind of film noir films from the 40s, but it actually includes legitimate footage from films like this, and it's spliced together. And you have Steve Martin and other actors and actresses that are inserted into certain frames. It's a really different, out there kind of concept. And I had the film on DVD, but the DVD is one of those where the aspect ratio does not hold up well on modern televisions. It's just really small and scrunched in. So the Blu-ray is a huge upgrade over that, and it actually does have the right aspect ratio. And it looks really good. It's got a good transfer. And then I also got this thriller from, I think it was 1988, Masquerade, with Meg Tilly and Rob Lowe and Kim Cattrall. And then I got the 80s television event of the decade. Honestly, if you think about it, like, this was the big television movie of the entire decade. Like, this is the one that a lot of people who grew up in the 80s remember and talk about the day after. This is the Kino Lorber special edition. It has the original theatrical version as well as the original TV version, because there was a theatrical cut of the film, but really it's a TV movie that was released theatrically. And then this is the Code Red title, Cut and Run. Uh, this is a Ruggero Deodato film. I had it on DVD, but I didn't have it on Blu-ray. And once again, if there's any issues with the lighting, I've talked about this in other videos. It's something that I'm constantly battling with every time I record a video. I think I might have a fix by having a new lighting setup, but that doesn't seem to really necessarily do it. It's just very inconsistent, and I apologize. It's just the kind of the best I can do right now for what I have, and it tends to just be washed out when it comes to these like white or light colors. So it's Cut and Run. And then I also got Annihilation from Winco because I had the DVD, and with this kind of film, the Blu-ray is definitely the better way to watch it in terms of the high definition picture. The next titles are all on Blu-ray except for one. There's one that's a 4K release. But this one right here that I'm going to show you is one I've been waiting at least a decade for when it comes to a home video release that isn't the VHS or the Laserdisc. I remember when Synapse announced that they were going to be releasing this film on DVD. I definitely a decade ago, maybe over a decade ago. And I was really excited about it because I was one of the few people that really enjoyed the film, and I really wanted to see it get a DVD and to have special features and to be remastered and so on, because I'd only really seen it on a murky, grainy VHS tape. And I was ready to pre-order it and pick it up and make it one of the first DVDs that I would ever purchase with my own money. And then it was canceled because of rights issues or something, and it languished in obscurity and rights hell for years until Synapse announced that they had finally obtained the full rights for it and they were working on restoring it. And that was like a few years ago. And you know, Synapse, they take their sweet ass time when it comes to releasing films that they obtain the rights to. And finally, after all this time, after all of this waiting, it's here. The Kindred. I am so psyched, pumped, and happy to finally be holding this in my hand. And this release is gorgeous. This artwork is beautiful. It's a work of art in itself. Um, and that's the slipcase for an equally gorgeous steelbook. And the steelbooks, I will say this: I'm not. If there's one negative about steelbooks, is what you see here. Like a lot of fingerprints in the right lighting. In the right lighting, I tried to do something about it, but it just didn't work. I couldn't really get them off. Maybe I'm not using the right thing. But yeah, this release is well worth the money, at least for me personally. You got this booklet with more artwork. You've got 3 discs. You have the Blu-ray, and then you have the DVD, and then you have the original score, which I've always loved. I've always thought that David Newman did a great job with the score for this film, and it's really cool to have the score for it included with this set. And the transfer on this film is terrific. This film has never looked better, never sounded better. It's getting a whole new life thanks to Synapse. And yeah, it's not 4K, but it is a 4K remaster. So it still looks really good. Yeah, it's got a new 4K HD remaster of the unrated cut of the film. Yeah, this is the unrated version of the movie that wasn't even available on home video. It has a new stereo surround mix as well as the original theatrical mix. It's got a commentary with the director. I mean, with the directors. Yeah, it's got Jeffrey Obero and Stephen Carpenter. It's got a new 52-minute long documentary about the making of the film. Special compilation of Michael McCracken's never before seen on set footage. Who was the makeup effects artist for the film. Still gallery, original storyboards, trailer, TV spots, the CD soundtrack. Yeah, it's quite the release, and I'm really looking forward to checking this out again later this year and doing another review of the film and a review of the Blu-ray and talking about the features and everything. Just one of those releases that is just everything that I could have hoped for and then some. The price tag is a bit steep though, but that's Synapse for you. They tend to be a little bit overpriced compared to some of the other markets, and I think it's because they are a smaller company than Vinegar Syndrome or Scream Factory. So that's why their prices tend to be a little high. It's similar in a lot of ways to Second Sight and their limited editions, which are also pretty pricey, but you get what you pay for, at least. Like, it's some really high quality stuff. Now, this isn't necessarily as high quality, but it's something that I'm still really happy to have. Superman. the complete animated series. I grew up watching this show alongside Batman the animated series and Justice League, which is another show that I really do need to upgrade one of these days from DVD to Blu-ray. And I honestly didn't think this was gonna get a release, and then because there was like a rumor about a release like sometime last year, and then it turned out to be fake, and then finally it was announced that it was actually real, it was actually legitimately coming out. Now, one little thing that I am a little bit bummed about is that this didn't receive the same special edition treatment as Batman animated series with a collector case and artwork and a booklet and all that other stuff. That was a little disappointing that it's just like a standard case. But it's still a massive upgrade over the DVD release. And it's got some really nice picture quality. Got some features, a few new things, some old stuff that's ported over from the DVDs. But yeah, if you're a fan of Superman the Animated Series, this is definitely something worth picking up. And I got a really good deal on it because I wound up returning some items that I bought from Amazon that I didn't want, and I used that credit, and I wound up paying like $28 for it, which was a steal. Speaking of steel, here's another steel book. Tremors, the 6-movie collection. Now, this is a release that's been out for a while. I think it was a Walmart or Best Buy exclusive, and it's not currently in print, so any release that you find of this is going to be one that was pre-owned by somebody or used, because there's no way to really buy this brand new unless it's somebody who bought multiple copies and then decided to sell one online. And this is a set that I picked up because it was actually cheaper to get this, to get the Tremors sequels, than it was to buy them separately. And this doesn't even have all of the Tremors sequels, because for some reason when Tremors 7 came out, they did not make another set with the Blu-rays. They only made one for DVD, which is stupid. I don't understand why they did that. I already have Tremors. I have the limited edition 4K box set from Arrow Video, which is the best release you could ever own for that film. So I didn't really get it for that. I got it for the sequels. I got it for Tremors 2 and 3 specifically. Tremors 2 because I really like that film. The thing is, it is one of those releases where they just stack things on top of each other. And I think it's because this is like just a reprint of the Tremors Attack Pack, which I think had 2 discs, but I'm not 100% sure. And with the added bonus of having a couple extra Blu-rays of Tremors 5 and 6. But I didn't pay a ton for it, and I finally got a good deal on it, and it was in good shape, because there's a lot of the ones that you find used that are all banged up, but this one's in pretty good shape. So Tremors 6-movie collection, I will definitely add Shrieker Island to my collection sometime and review those movies. But glad that I have the collection now for the future. Here is the German release of Dune, the 1984 film. I love that film. It's one of my favorite science fiction movies. I still haven't seen the new one. I have the Arrow Video 4K release. I've already shown it in another video, and I got this as well because it has some extra features that release doesn't have. Specifically, the Ballyhoo documentary that was not included on the Arrow Video release because I didn't want to be patient and wait for them to finish it. The thing is, though, the Ballyhoo documentary, there's a bit of a downside to it. It is on audio only. There's footage. There's footage. There's video footage, and there's pictures, and there's other stuff that's edited in there, but it doesn't include on-camera interviews with anybody. So it is a bit of a disappointment in that regard. But this just really, it just ports over the same um, features for the most part and the same transfer as the Arrow release. Um, but there are some differences. Like I said, this does have some other features that are exclusive to this set. Like the making of Dune, the feature-length documentary by Ballyhoo. And that's really the main thing. There's a few other things too, but really that's the main difference. Um, so definitely, if you're a diehard fan of Dune like I am, then it's definitely something to have for the collection. The thing is, though, like this feels really cheap compared to the Arrow release. Like the materials used, it just yeah. I would give the Arrow release the edge presentation wise, but I'm so glad to have it for the Ballyhoo documentary. Next up is a box set of the TV show Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. This is the complete collection from Kino Lorber. Kino Lorber did an amazing job with this show. They're doing a really good job with their TV show box sets, period. I mean, the remasters for these old shows are stunning. Like, this show has never looked this good in any format previously. And yeah, so you have season 1, and then you have season 2, and then you also have the theatrical movie, which was a theatrical version of the pilot episode. Buck Rogers is a pretty big deal back in the 70s in terms of the production value, in terms of the money on the screen. I mean, it was definitely a big thing. And you can tell. Like, it doesn't really look like a cheap show at all. And that's probably why it didn't have a ton of episodes, is because it just costs so much to produce. The next couple releases are Arrow Video Collector's Editions. We have Donnie Darko, the limited edition. I actually got this from Best Buy. And this is the one that has been corrected. Because there was an issue, a pretty severe issue when this was released, that involved the theatrical version of the film. The disc had a lot of issues. Like the disc would jitter and judder and just be unwatchable. And Arrow had to set up a replacement program for it because it was that bad. I got lucky and got the set that already had the replacement disc in it. So I don't have to worry about any of that anymore. Which apparently is an issue because once Arrow Video got bought out by the Hut Group, then a lot of the ability to get a replacement disc kind of went with it. Like, it just made it really difficult to try to get a replacement disc. So if you get a set that has a bad disc, it's really hard to get a replacement disc now or get a hold of anybody because of the change in ownership. So I'm glad I don't have to deal with that, because you can't even access the link that you were supposed to fill out some information on to get the replacement disc, because it's dead. The link is dead. So you have to contact them via email and then hope and pray that they respond and send you something in the mail. Speaking of Arrow Video, this is a little off topic, but it's also kind of on topic because I am still talking about Arrow Video. Arrow Video, especially in the UK, around this time of year, they had phenomenal, great sales where you would be able to get a lot of Arrow Video titles for cheap imported to the United States. Fairly new releases as well as old ones. As long as you had a region-free player, you were good to go. And even some of the releases were region-free anyway, so you didn't necessarily have to have a region-free player to get in on the action. But recently, because of some law that passed or something in the UK, now it's really hard to import to the US, and also since Arrow was bought out by the Hut Group, now US customers and Canadian customers are no longer able to take part in those great sales anymore. We're stuck with the sales from Arrow US or some other I don't know if Arrow has a Canadian I don't know if Arrow has a Canadian place. I think there was something that was serving as a placeholder for the United States customers and Canadian, and the prices are nowhere near as much of a good deal as they used to be. I mean, it's like $15, and that's not even including shipping. Like back a few years ago, hell, just a year ago, you could get all these Arrow titles from Zavi, which is the company that the Hut Group owns. So I don't know why they don't have those deals going on in Zavi anymore. Maybe they do, but a lot of people don't want to deal with Zavi because of shipping and whatever, and I get it. But you could buy them directly from Arrow and get really good deals. And that's just dead and gone now. Because US customers can't even order from Arrow UK anymore. And it's just frustrating. As a collector, it's really lame, and the Hut Group and Arrow are losing out on a ton of fucking money right now. I guarantee they are losing out on a ton of money because there's a lot of US customers and Canadian customers who are like, I'm not going to Unobstructed View or some of these other places. I'm not going to buy from Arrow US or MVD and save barely any money at all on these Arrow releases. Oh, some of these Arrow releases are go for like 25, 30 retail. So maybe I'll save $10, but that's not even including shipping. So unless I spend like $50 or more in order to get free shipping, I'm not saving that much. But with the Arrow UK sales, you would save a lot because there would be differences between how much you would pay if you're an American versus someone in the UK, and it would ultimately pay off. And it's just not there anymore. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of collectors who are like, "What the fuck, Arrow? Now I can't even take part in these sales anymore because why would I? I'm not saving that much money anymore." So yeah, that sucked. But I did save uh money getting this set from Ronin of Legend. I enjoy this film quite a bit. This is a really great release from Arrow. Gorgeous transfer, nice features. I prefer the theatrical version. That's just me. Um, but if you like the director's cut more, you are definitely going to be able to appreciate that to its fullest as well on this release. Nice, cool booklet. It had some other stuff that was included with it, like a poster and some art cards and whatever. But I gave those to a friend of mine as a gift because I really honestly wouldn't be doing anything with it. And the next titles, yeah, I'm not done yet, are all 4K releases. I got these from mix of a couple different places. Some of them I got from online sales through Facebook Marketplace, and others I got from Best Buy and Amazon. But most of them, though, are from Best Buy and Amazon, actually. This one I got from Amazon Warehouse recently. Demons 1 and 2, the special limited edition from Synapse. I know Arrow Video did a release, but it's long been out of print. And I got a good deal on this one. Another Synapse release that's not cheap. It's like 40 something bucks. But I was able to save a little bit on this release because it was an Amazon warehouse title. And it was this weird thing where it was like new and it was a warehouse title. So I saved money on it as if it was used, but when I got it, it was completely brand new. It was unopened. There was nothing wrong with it. I don't. I guess it must have been one of those things where somebody either bought two, or they didn't need it, or whatever, and then they returned it, and then it wound up at Amazon warehouse. Whatever the case is, I benefited from that, and brand spanking new release, and there's nothing wrong with the case. There's no damage to any of the 4K discs. It's got all the special stuff. You get the invitation, the party invitation for Demons 2. You've got the special collectible ticket, which is a recreation of the ticket in the first film. You've got a poster. You've got a Synapse Films booklet. So it's got everything. And the transfers on these releases on these films is just absolutely amazing. Like, it's just delectable. Like, if you are a fan of these films and you have a 4K setup, like, I would definitely recommend getting these, because it's an upgrade over the Blu-rays by a mile. Like, it looks really fucking good, and the sound mix is also really impressive. So that's the Demons 1 and 2. And then I also got another box set. Got this from Best Buy. The Mummy, the Ultimate Trilogy, because I'm a big fan of the Mummy films, and I didn't have The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. And it seems like The Mummy and The Mummy Returns 4Ks, at one point they were easier to come by, but now they're starting to get a little difficult to find for a cheaper price. Especially The Mummy Returns, I think. And I find that interesting that there are certain 4K releases that came out, honestly, probably around the time that 4K was first announced and was first a thing. And then those are the releases that are starting to become a little out of print and a little hard to come by. And this set, though, I'm not I'm not really happy with this set. I'm not the only one, because there's a lot of people who have this set that are not pleased with this design either. I don't know what Universal was fucking thinking with this. They decided to make it a bookcase, which is fine if you do it properly, but this is just lazy and just not well constructed. As you can see, like, look at these discs. They are already sliding out of the top of the case. Not a good sign. And you have to really struggle to pull a disc out. For instance, I'll just show you. Here's a demonstration. Here's the disc right up here. I gotta stick my finger under there, and then I gotta pull it out. Like, that's not good. I mean, over time, it's probably not going to be good for the discs either, but I mean, it was a decent enough deal, and I didn't have the Mummy films in 4K, and these are some really good transfers, by the way, if you're a fan of those films. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the construction of this set. It's pretty shitty. Then I got Fast 9. The reason why, I have all the other Fast and the Furious films in 4K, and it was cheap. It was during the Black Friday deal at Best Buy, which was insane. It was a really good deal for 4K releases. I also picked up Godzilla vs. Kong for the Godzilla Kong Monsterverse collection. And it's a film I actually did like. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I wouldn't say it's a great movie, but I did enjoy it for the spectacle, and glad to pick it up. And I got Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I had this on Blu-ray, but this is a film that really could benefit from 4K, and I checked it out recently, and it definitely does. Like, this film has a lot of really bright colors and vivid visuals, and even though it has some problems with the storytelling and some of the characters, as a visual spectacle, it's definitely unique. And the 4K release is not a disappointment in that regard when it comes to the visual spectacle. Like, it looks really spectacular. And got this, as well as a few other stuff from seller on Facebook. Free Guy. Um, this is a film that I legitimately enjoyed. I watched this recently. I'll probably review it sometime in the near future. I had a lot of fun with this one. I would say it's not great, but I did enjoy it quite a bit. It's a fun movie. Uh, Pretty good transfer as well. Although I will say one thing about this release, the sound mix seems a little quiet compared to some of the other 4K releases that I have. I don't know if I'm the only one, but maybe it's because I don't really have like the best surround sound set up. Maybe that's why. But I do have a pretty high-end soundbar from Samsung that I got in October from Best Buy, which has which is, I think it's like 3.1 channels. It's got Dolby Atmos enabled. It's got a subwoofer. So I have a pretty high end setup, at least for the space that I have, and I had to turn this up like way more than some of the other 4K releases that I own, or even Blu-ray releases, because the sound just wasn't really up to par. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe it's something that Disney fucked up with or something. I don't know. Then I also got Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I love this film. This is honestly one of my favorite family movies. And this is not a disappointment at all when it comes to the transfer. It's scrumptious. It's absolutely delicious. I mean, this film has never looked better. I also got Super 8. Actually, still haven't seen this. I know it's kind of J.J. Abrams' tribute to Steven Spielberg or films like The Goonies. Um, but decided to pick it up. I only had it on DVD. I didn't even have it on Blu-ray, so I got the 4K release. Space Jam. Amazon had a bit of a sale a few weeks ago, and this was included with it. I legitimately enjoyed this film as well. I only had it on Blu-ray. Decided to pick up the 4K. I saw a New Legacy and it sucked dick. Um, but I'll share my thoughts on that later when I review Space Jam again. I also picked up the Suicide Squad. I actually saw this and a New Legacy at the drive-in theater. And this was a blast, and honestly, probably my second favorite film of the year to date. New Legacy was not, but I'm really glad that I still had the chance to see this in the drive-in. And I'm glad to have this 4K release, and I got a good deal on it. I only paid like $15 for it, which was a good deal. It's cheaper than anywhere else. And this is a really good release. It's got some nice visuals and good sound. And then I got the Green Knight because I'm curious about this one. I know a friend of mine wasn't a big fan of this film, but I think it'll be worth at least one watch for the visuals. And this film, though, I'm an enormous fan of. John Carpenter's The Thing. Now, I already had the US release because this is the Studio Canal release of The Thing. I got this from reseller online. And the reason why I double dipped is because I have the other releases from Studio Canal. I have The Fog, I have Prince of Darkness, I have Escape from New York, I have They Live. So I did it to complete the collection of Studio Canal John Carpenter 4K releases. And here we have Black Widow. I don't know if I showed this before in another video. If not, here it is. If I did, here it is again, as well as some of the other releases that I got from the same seller. It was a good deal, and I did not have this film in my MCU collection yet. Uh, then I also got from the same seller the trilogy of the new Star Wars films. Force Awakens, a film I saw in the theater and I did enjoy but didn't love it, and then I'm just kind of on the fence about ever since. And yeah, I would like to revisit it sometime. The Last Jedi, I hated this movie. This film sucked, but for the sake of the collection, and it was a pretty good deal. I picked it up. I think it'll look at least be visually nice to look at in 4K at least. And then I got the Rise of Skywalker, which I still haven't seen, by the way, because one of these days I would like to do new reviews of all the Star Wars films. Because speaking of Star Wars, I got these from Best Buy, the original trilogy, Star Wars: A New Hope, um, The Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, they don't have the slipcovers, which, you know, kind of annoying, but not that big of a deal. And then Return of the Jedi. It was cheaper for me to get all of these separately so far than it was to buy the box set, which is like $240 or some shit. It's ridiculous. And then I also got Independence Day in 4K because I'm a big fan of this film. I think it's an incredibly fun science fiction blockbuster epic. In terms of the next videos, I still have a couple requests to get to. Have a request of another Corey Feldman film called The Birthday. I need to sit down and watch and record a review of. I also need to do Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. That was a recent request. The reason why I've been kind of waiting on that one, there's been a bit of a delay on that, is simply because of the fact I've been working a lot at both my jobs the past couple weeks. Things are starting to calm down a little bit though. And also, I thought it would be fun to do all of the Harold and Kumar films in December because the third film is a Christmas movie. So I thought it'd be kind of a fun thing to do for the holidays. So I will be doing those fairly soon. Um, and I also have plans on covering a couple more films, like this disappointing movie, The Cloverfield Killer, as well as this underrated gem in Judgment Night, which I really enjoy, and I think it's a classic film. And also, I plan on revisiting the Ghostbusters franchise because I saw Ghostbusters Afterlife in the theater. It was the first film I saw in the theater since Bad Boys for Life. And I'm going to be reviewing that as well as new reviews of the other films in the franchise. And currently, I am watching the Candyman films. I've watched the first three, and I'll probably watch the fourth film uh, sometime later today, as of this recording. And I will be also doing reviews of those too. So there's a lot of things that I have planned and in mind. But either way, I hope you enjoy whatever is coming next. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I wish you all happy holidays. See ya.